Ladies and gentlemen, we are away. How are you doing there? We got a very exciting show today. Today's date is the 12th of October, 2024. It is 11:05 a.m. We're going to be talking about the new smart city in Gaza. We're going to be talking about more info on the fraud of Iran by Thierry Masson. Do you remember the French guy? He's been around a long time. Thank you to everyone for the links, and we will get round to a daily show. Now, how bright is that? The camera is just doing some strange things for some reason. You may not notice it, but I am vastly overexposed in the face, and I don't know why it is suddenly doing it. Why suddenly it was fine, now suddenly it's not fine. I don't know. I even put it on automatic. Anyway, let's just carry on. You're probably going, no, I don't notice anything. You probably don't. But anyway, I hope you are doing well. I am definitely doing well. I'm going to say it. I'm definitely doing well. Been doing a lot of inner work, actually, and a few other things, and sleeping better. And I started sleeping better when I stopped taking so many pills, so many supplements. And wow. I strongly recommend you get yourself one of these smartwatches. I know you can, no, don't do it. Look, just use the technology. The reason I use it is I want to see, because part of the thing they want to do is they want to start implanting devices into people for the UBI. So what they'll say is we want real-time data on as many people as possible, their physiology, like real-time, like an ICU implant, to do blood gases and all sorts of crazy stuff. That's where they want to go, real-time measurement of blood sugar levels. But also, this is a fantastic tool. All right. Don't throw away technology for the sake of it. All right. Use it. Engage with the process, engage with the technology, and engage with the political process so you understand it. I beg you to do it. I used to be, no, run away, prep, throw away, don't use a phone. No, engage. That's the trick. Engage with it, get inside it, get on the programs, understand them, and then start entering into that political discussion in whatever format you're going to do. All right, hopefully everything is working properly. I really have to stay away from live streams. YouTube does my head in. I thought I'll just do it and set up a live stream. I can post again. And I just start grinding my teeth. It's like an old girlfriend. Like once you break up, you should just break up. I remember when over a year ago, I quit YouTube and just deleted it at a magical 33,000 subscribers. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. The constant trying to work out what the problem was. And I have to tell you, I had never felt better when I just deleted that freaking YouTube account. And there are good reasons just to keep it up and just put the best videos on there, particularly videos, because Mary's linking to stuff and so on. I will continue to leave it on there, but I don't know. Maybe I need to do some inner work. Maybe it's the mind games they play with. I remember when Patreon, during COVID, you had a real person. You could talk to a real person. And they said, look, Brendan, we have to do this because the government, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And, I didn't like it, but okay, I could talk to someone. I knew the boundaries. I knew what they wanted. There was clear communication. YouTube have a policy. Google have a policy of ambivalence and keeping you in a constant state of anxiety to ensure compliance. And I don't like it. And somebody needs to sue them and not sign an NDA, because just to let you know, a paralegal used to tell me all the cases against Google, Alphabet, LLC, and there's dozens of them, and they're winning their cases but they're doing NDAs. So you think Google just does whatever it wants. No, it don't. There is contract law, and they can stick at the bottom. You just do what we tell you. You have no rights. It doesn't matter. No, under contract law, if you have bought an account, remember, don't have a free account. Buy the full premium account, and even put some movies. Buy some movies, put it on. Now you're in a different contract environment. Somebody's got to take them to town. All I want from them is open communication and dialogue. Don't do this, don't say this, because what you have is individual people at YouTube just making arbitrary decisions that we can, you have to consult a lawyer. Now, I do actually have a lawyer through a friend, a nice pipe-hitting Hebrew lawyer out of Los Angeles. And as he said, if I do the work, he will put the paperwork, and I pay the $600 for serving on Google. There's no problem. I just don't have the energy to do anything. Maybe in the future. Maybe we'll fundraise, but I want Google accountable on YouTube. Right? All I want is clear, concise, what can go on. I've seen them put Nick Fuentes up. I've seen them put Blazarian saying some absolutely insightful stuff. Not a problem, 1 million views. I will put something on there and it's hate speech. And you just sit there going, what the hell? I've had enough of it. So in the future, as my energy comes back, I'm going to end up getting some paperwork ready for Google. I'm going to have it fucking served on them because I want some fucking accountability. Contract law is sacred, okay? The covenant, contract law, sacred. They can't just do whatever they want. Doesn't matter if they say, when you tick this box, we can do whatever they want. They can't do whatever they want. Contracts must be clear, concise, and in the open. It's sacred. It is literally sacred contract law. And people are winning all the time and they're paying them off to shut them up. Anyway, let's move on to the actual things we want to talk about right now. Let's talk about the Gaza smart city, shall we? Let's get on to there. Let's start watching. This is the Caspian Report. These guys are interesting. The Caspian Report, I heard, were involved with Iran. I was there. He featured a lot. The lawyer was saying, oh, this is the Caspian Report. It should be like them. I think they had 30,000 subscribers in 2017 when I was in Iran. Now they have, what are they up to, 1.57 million. So I'm not sure who they are, but it might be Germany, Iranians based in Germany or something. I don't know. But anyway, they don't do some bad stuff. So let's watch 5 minutes of this because it's very instructive. Thank you again for the links, everyone. Appreciate it.
This video shows Israeli rollers, bulldozers, and trucks paving a new road along the Gaza-Egypt border. They're building a new buffer zone known as the Philadelphia Corridor, and the Israelis are there to stay. Here is what it looks like during the day. New realities on the ground are being designed, realities that hint at Israel's endgame for Gaza. Zooming out, we can see Israel building road networks all across the Gaza Strip, with some being kilometers wide, including a buffer zone around the edges of the enclave. These will be fortified with checkpoints, watchtowers, bases, and other surveillance tools. Using these strategic corridors, the Israeli army will be able to monitor any point in Gaza without necessarily occupying the entire territory. The idea is that in post-war Gaza, whenever Hamas fighters surface from underground and prepare to fire rockets, the Israelis would detect them in no more than a few.
The future, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? You gonna like it? Because if you think that's happening just in Gaza, I have news for you. But look, it's not actually going to look like that. The aim is not to keep them there. The aim is to expel them completely. That is the aim. Now, Egypt so far is not complying entirely, but once the Suez Canal possibly gets cut off completely by the Houthis and the Blowfish, who without doubt, the joke is with the Houthis is that, number one, when I was in Iran, everyone was laughing because Iran was supplying the Houthis with all their stuff. And there's some great videos where you've literally got this old grandpa and a group of Houthis in sandals with a sandwich and a bottle of water and an AK, and they're taking on Saudis and Abrams, and the Saudis are running away. And you just think, what the frick? You know, death to America, death to Israel. And, I don't know how set up this is or whatever's going on, but it's just ridiculous. If you think for 5 minutes the Houthis are going to block off the Suez Canal without permission. Bottom line is what's happening is the US is going to Egypt. Look, we can't help. Sorry, you want to join the BRICS, Egypt? So, good luck. Don't think Moscow has an aircraft carrier. Pretty sure China's crappy aircraft carriers won't be helping you out. But anyway, you enjoy the Red Sea getting blocked off. Have a nice day, because of course America with the shale revolution now is an overall energy exporter, not importer. So this has all been arranged. Now, you have to understand, Egypt leadership are in the bag, so are the Saudi leadership, GCC, Jordanian, all the rest. They're all in the bag already. Some because they just know without it, they'll be crushed, so they do as they're told. But the problem is not the leadership. MBS, the coke-snorting piece of shit, and his friends are all in the bag already. They put their money where it needs to go, the City of London and elsewhere, and they all do their deals. What we have here is failure to communicate. No, what we have here is the middle management. You got to understand, they've got a lot of bright young colonels in Egypt too, and they've got a lot of managerial class in terms of the state authority, the state enforcement. All right, MBS can't do that. That takes bright young colonels and generals, and the generals are nearly always in the bag, but the bright young colonels are the worry. The young officer corps and the armed forces in particular, they'll only put up with so much. They have to be in the bag. So the leadership have to be able to go to that. This is very key here. It's very key what I'm telling you. You've got to get the managerial class on board. So they have to be able to go, look, we need to go back with America. We need to cooperate with Israel. Those horrible Shia who've been bought in by Israel with Russia and the city of London, Rouhani, coming into the Middle East because they're playing on the Hadiths. The Hadiths, 70,000 Jews from Isfahan, and the Dajjal and the end of times, Book of Daniel, Book of Revelation. That's what they're playing on. It's not about the leadership of the Arab states, majority Sunni. They're already in the bag. They have to get the managerial class and the general population. They're terrified of the local populations. So what you're seeing, that's why they want the UBI and the smart city. It's a prison. They've got to lock up the local populations, get them under control, and then bring in eventually what you see on the screen right here, the drones and the robots, the autonomous and semi-autonomous killing machines. That is the key. Without that, they can't finish the job because humans don't like killing their neighbors. That's why you might bring in, I don't know, 4 million poor, desperate people from Central and South America, because they'll jump on, do an intensive English language course, and they'll man those Bradley infantry fighting vehicles in the streets of New York. Now, that's an extreme example, but that's on the cards too. So humans killing humans is very difficult. It's a big problem. So bring in the semi-autonomous killing machines and sometimes fully autonomous. That's coming. They already have the technology and they're testing a lot of this stuff in Ukraine. Hopefully there'll be resistance because once they start using it routinely in the army, and they've said, the Pentagon said, oh, we can't get recruits. Why is that? Oh, I don't know. You're running around in high heels maybe? That's the plan. That's the City of London, Kissinger and Associates plan. Private industry, private data analytic, private military intelligence, foundation system of funding plan. Norman Dodd, convergence, US and Eurasia. So with these things in mind, you've got to get the bright young colonels, particularly the bright young colonels, under control. So you've got to be able to say the Houthis are cutting us off. We're losing $50 million a day. We're in big trouble. We're going to have to do a deal with Israel. That's what they have to do. They have to get the population to understand and agree. But there will come a time when no one has to agree. They'll just kill us all. So remember this. Nothing can happen really until they get that machine learning, automated systems of control, border control, policing, state and federal, and above all, the military, the Department of Defense around the world. They've got to get the semi-autonomous killing machines on the streets in the civilian population. That is the goal. Remember, they were going to release the virus in 2028, Agenda 2030. In fact, release it 2030, and who would get in 2028? Either Ivanka or Jared Kushner. That's what Pachenik said on elections. And I believe they were getting ready for that. The New York liberals, remember? Amazing New York liberals, all pro-climate change. And you think, what the hell are these clowns doing in the Trump administration? Chabad Lubavitch, still there. And we'll be doing a thingy on Trump. I'm going to put the good points of Trump and the bad points of Trump. Remember, penetrate the market, penetrate Trump's audience. I tell you to penetrate Kamala's audience, but I don't think she has one, and they look like they're complete freaking mentally ill retards, so forget about them. But you've got to penetrate the Trump audience. So they were going to release that virus, Agenda 2030. Jared Kushner would have been in. They did it early. Why? Because Pompeo and the Skull and Bones crew and Mattis and the rest of the gang got a hold of Trump. And Trump wasn't hard to convince. They just say money. It's costing us money. Look what they're doing. And you saw Trump pull up Marilyn Hewson of Lockheed, never done before. I tell you now, it's history. March 2018. History. You going to lose any more technology, Marilyn? No, Mr. President. That was big. When I saw that, I nearly fell over. Wow. I thought something big's changed. That's when I started to support Trump, because I realized something big was happening. All right? I don't like Trump personally and politically. I despise the man. He's been a rat for 40 years for the FBI. He's a scum. Doesn't matter. You've got to go with Trump for now. For now. Get control of his audience. Don't isolate from his audience. Penetrate his audience. Get in there. Get down to the rallies. Remember, the lease flyers are always linked below. They're very powerful. You can just print them out on a home printer, and the QR codes work. Just remember that. So when you think about this, they got a hold of Trump. Trump went after Germany and said, why are you dealing with, this Russiagate stuff is so annoying. He's caned Russia and Putin. Yes, there was Russia-Israel gate without question, but he caned Russia. So remember that when he went after Germany with its gas deals with Russia. Remember that. We're going to do a whole show on that stuff. But penetrate his audience. before the drones come. So what you see, and again, that's linked below, what you see in the Gaza smart city, number one, that's what they want for the world, but Gaza, no, they want it completely ethnically cleansed, completely. All right, there may be pauses in the fighting, but I don't believe there's even going to be a pause. They're just going to ship them straight out. Let's see what happens. It's going to be very interesting. What happens over the next year or two is going to be, it's going to be defining for the next 100 years, the next 1 or 2 years. Please remember that. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Again, I want to move to dailies. Every morning there's going to be ready to go, say bye. Actually, I'd prefer to release them every morning, US Central Standard Time, but we'll see. Thank you for this one. You know who you are. This is pretty funny. I love this one. What BRICS economic officials stay away from Moscow meeting? Basically, Moscow, October 11th, Reuters. Most finance ministers and central bank chiefs from the BRICS group of countries did not attend a high-level meeting in Moscow on Friday ahead of a BRICS summit later this month, sending more junior officials instead, official documents show. Finance ministers from Egypt and the United Arab Emirates and the head of Iran's central bank were present as Russian Finance Minister Anton Solunyov called for the creation of an alternative to the Western-dominated global financial system. Oh, really? Just like that? Oh, we're calling for an alternative. Based on what, Vlad? Your drunken, vodka-ridden economy with no high-tech industrial base where you have to steal everything. And China, totally dependent on Western technology, which they can stop like that. Yes, we're just going to spontaneously create a new system of finance. That's what, and we're going to just create a multipolar world order. And it just so happens Israel was intimately involved, Likud, Netanyahu, Putin, and Xi. We're just going to do it. Wow, I had nothing on this weekend, thought we'd do it. You couldn't even begin to conceive to do that without the permission of the Kissinger and Associates of the world, and of course, Lord Jacob himself. Lord Jacob himself. I think we need a couple of picks just to make the point. Okay, let's make the point. Picture's worth 1,000 words. Times of Israel. Israeli press, trust me, the best sources of info on this. They're screaming about it. Machiavellian German refugee Kissinger shaped US policy with Jewish philosophy, The Inevitability of Tragedy. It's a book. I had the audio. It's fascinating. You got to get it. Shows how the abidingly influential ex-Secretary of State strategies were shaped by families escaped from Nazis and by German Jewish intellectuals. 26 September 2020. There's a reason he's there with Bush at the top. They're saying 9/11, 9/11, 9/11. Okay? Former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger with then President George W. Bush in New York City, March 14, 2008. He's with everyone. Aren't you, Heinz? With everybody. You really need to grasp this stuff. These aren't one-off handshakes that happened once. This is the plan. There's head of Denology, remember Shadowgate, General Jim Jones, former head of NATO Marine Corps, Rupert Murdoch getting his little globe. There's Heinz, and there's Fred Kemp, the head of the Atlantic Council. The Atlantic Council's now, oh, boo, boo Putin. You weren't saying boo Putin back in 2016, 2017, were you, Atlantic Council? With Heinz telling everyone in 2017, hey, everyone, get in line. We're shifting the center of gravity from America to China. Tony Abbott, and former Jesuit Prime Minister, with Rupert Murdoch and Heinz. I was invited out with Tony Abbott's crew. The good news is, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Abbott, a major player in Australian politics, or was, he's all out now because he woke up to the issue. He never knew the issue. I was invited out with his close personal friends, Minister Joe Francis and former Commander Colonel Special Air Service James McMahon. Didn't try to kill me. Didn't try to kill me because the Jesuits no longer dance to the tune of former masters. Isn't that right, Judge? But didn't try to kill me. Were assisting me, smiling, giving thumbs up. I mean, after all, I am exposing the Jesuit conspiracy, correct? Aren't I? Why am I being killed? I don't understand. Shouldn't I be dead? Do you think you've read too many old books that may be completely irrelevant to the day? Again, if you want to understand the Jesuit movement, then understand Hofjuden. Then you will understand all. And remember that other Jesuit, good old Jim Condit Jr., exposing the Masonic takeover of Catholic churches. So they look like Masonic temples, identical. Remember Jim Condit Jr.? Got to bring him back up. Is he still alive? I'd love to talk to him. But anyway, let's quickly go back. Finance ministers and bank chiefs from China, India, and South Africa stayed away, sending deputies. Bloody, bloody, blah. Kremlin aide Yuri Yushakov accused the West of pressuring countries not to attend the BRICS summits. Oh, but why would they do that? Reminds me of Hitler sending Rudolf Hess back into the Scottish Highlands to ask, what have we done wrong? It's over, boys and girls. Your version of the multipolar world order is over. It'll be up to Americans and a whole new generation to move in to ensure that America power and the trillion-dollar military-industrial complex adheres at least mildly closely to its constitution, and the American public, with us cheering them on, start to take its dominant role in a unipolar American world order. Until eventually, yes, we all have the same constitution as America. Literally, you can keep your culture, you can keep your local traditions, your local way of living and eating and breathing, but you will have a fucking constitution that has at its very top, nothing is more important than freedom from state coercion and the full engagement of the citizenry in the political process. Because if you create a vacuum, someone will move in. You can either run your own life or someone will run it for you. It's really simple. Without freedom, you can't be a Christian, you can't be a Wahhabist, Muslim, Jew, nothing, communist. And what will bind us in a diverse world, a diverse sovereign world, what will bind us is our commitment to freedom and ensuring the freedom of others who cannot coerce others to abide by their values. All right? They tell you that freedom's bad. Look what happened. You give freedom and look at the degenerate pub culture West. Yes, thank you, Tavistock Institute. Thank you, Rockefeller Foundation. Thank you, Lord Jacob. Thank you, 13 Families of Europe. What are we going to do? 1776. It's catching on. We'll take over the communist movement. We'll take over all these different movements before we move them into high technology cities, which is the long-term plan. Always a holding action until they get the automation in. And then we'll bring down the United States, finally, and tell them, look at this degenerate pop culture. Men think they're women. Look at all this craziness. Man, let's go back to tradition. Look at traditional, dictatorship China. Look at traditional oligarchical dictatorship Russia. That's the way forward. Look at beautiful tradition. Men and women, males and females, not like crazy America. They degenerate the pop culture. Instead of freedom being beautiful freedom, all right, in a slowly transforming world with a slowly open borders process over 1,000 years. Not even open borders. I don't want open borders. All right, I have a front door. I keep it locked. Your libertarian bullshit that suddenly you just open to move whenever you want, wherever you want, at any time. Look, in the world to come, when Jesus comes back, allegedly, we will not have to wipe our bums and everything will be wonderful and love will be the fulfillment of the law and it will be written unto our hearts. Yeah, I get it. And one day it will. One day it will. But until that day, we got 1,000 years of fixing to do. 1,000 years of it. We're going to fix all of this because our hearts will be moved by the truth. And we'll get rid of this degenerate. We'll educate the public. We'll immunize the public. We'll have an immune system. They won't believe this. We'll have a school system, thank you, Rockefeller, and a medical system that promotes health and vitality, and we'll create humans who actually think, and we'll have an education system that causes them to think, and we'll acknowledge the individual. I remember art. I hate art. I still hate art. I like photography now, but I hated art. Why do I do art? Can't I do manual arts? In fact, why don't I just leave school and go and work for a living? We need to let people be who they are. And sometimes at 14, 15, you're ready to enter the workforce and you're just not an academic. We've got to stop this one size fits all. I don't need fucking algebra. What I needed more was know thyself. I needed my natal chart. I need a natal chart. I need to know my archetypal structure. I need to know what I'm about. I need to know I'm a Scorpio sun, Aquarius rising, moon in Virgo. I need to know that my moon is exactly conjunct Pluto in the 8th house with a 5-degree separation from Mars. So I know that I'm an explosive fucking lunatic at times. I need to see that I've got all my 10th house planets are filled with Scorpio. I need to know these things so I know my archetypal structure so the acorn can become an oak tree and not a donkey. We must self-actualize. We must individuate. That's the beauty of the American Constitution. Look at it. To be all you are, not can be. All you are. We need a system and a popular culture and an education system, a political system that says the most important thing is freedom for the individual to manifest like a flower opening to the sun as we move off this planet. I ain't no fucking Jason Society member. Give it a rest. Hitler wanted to ban smoking. I'd like to see it banned too. It's the most toxic substance on earth. Doesn't mean I'm a Nazi. We are going to move out into the universe, and I promise you, Jesus is not coming to wipe your backside. And God is watching, and your job is to promote peace and start moving the popular culture forward with solutions. With solutions. We are moving out into the universe. We are heading into a brand new world order. Get used to it. And you are going to take part in that process. Run your own life or someone will run it for you. So the BRICS is off, all that stuff. Hey, do you remember this? You this is I made this. This is a I started, oh boy, what is going on with my camera? Sorry, my camera's, I must have said too loudly. I'm so pleased things are coming together because now my camera does. Anyway, what I was going to say is, you remember when I did a fake conference? Remember I went to Iran. I said we need a high-tech conference about Israel and espionage and the whole system. Oh yeah, maybe. Why don't you do a travel show? That's what they were telling me, and I said I'm leaving. I've had enough of this. I went to Beirut and I thought I'd do like a fake conference, what a conference would look like, and then I made a video. This is just an intro. Remember Kevin Barrett? Remember he was meeting with Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, the then Prime Minister of Malaysia. Who's good friends with Mahathir Mohamad? Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, who's emailing me, we all respect your work. Sorry, no, you have a body of work to be proud of, but she's all pro-BRICS, pro-Russia. We're not going to let people forget that, Cynthia. We're not going to let people forget that. So watch this.
And what Americans need to understand is they did it. They did it. And if they do understand that, Israel's going to disappear. Israel will flat ass disappear from this earth. You know, I have a dream, as Martin Luther King Jr. once said, you know, and my dream is that the 5th and 6th U.S. fleets take Israel and cream it.
Ladies and gentlemen, hot from the hotbed of revolution. Well, actually, I think I'm pretty sick of revolutions here in Lebanon. It's Brendan O'Connell, the bell tower boy from Australia in Beirut, Lebanon, with my first authentic Cuban revolutionary
like shit
cigar. The revolutionary fires are dying, but we'll keep them going. I'm here with Professor Joachim, who's the head of history and international relations at the University of Lebanon. And
he has a nice dacha in Cuba, literally. He's a good guy, actually. I said to him, look, wouldn't it be better if, sorry, I don't know why my camera's doing this, but anyway, the ISO is going crazy, now it's coming down. I have no idea, but anyway, I said, Professor Joachim, isn't it better that we free America, free the world? And he said, yeah, you're probably right, but it doesn't make any difference. He went to the conference they had in Lebanon with Iran was present, all the usual suspects, Alexander Dugin, all the BRICS groups, because they're stupid. But Sufyan got it. Sufyan got it quick. You know, Sufyan was attending Moscow University. He was going to go. He was learning Russian, all sorts, and then he saw my videos. That's when we said, holy shit, we're getting effed. We're getting majorly done over here by Russia.
we are networking very strongly here, and in a minute we're going to have a chat about just a couple of things, just as a little introduction. And we're just networking as hard as we can, which is why I haven't done many videos, but we'll get back very, very soon.
Here's Kevin Barrett. Listen to what he says in a minute.
Welcome to beautiful Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. We're standing beneath the Bank of China building with the famous eye in the pyramid. This city, Kuala Lumpur, is the commercial hub of Southeast Asia, thanks to its position close to the Straits of Malacca, one of the world's most important choke points. The British noticed the importance of the Straits of Malacca long ago, just like Gibraltar and other places like that. They thought it was real important to dominate that choke point in order to help them rule the world. And those who are trying to rule the world through technology and finance are still very interested in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm here with Brendan O'Connell, one of the world's great info activists, and we are dreaming big dreams about perhaps conferences here in Kuala Lumpur. We have a relatively friendly government. Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, the Prime Minister, is a 9/11 truth activist himself. He hosted the Kuala Lumpur War Crimes Tribunals.
Yeah, they hosted the Kuala Lumpur War Crimes Tribunal and they indicted George W. Bush, not Benjamin Netanyahu and Likud, not Russia, not Chinese involvement, 9/11, not Heinz Kissinger. They indicted the village idiot in 2007, none other than George W. Bush. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the word Chris Boleyn, why wasn't Christopher Boleyn invited to that conference in 2007? James Corbett was invited to that conference. Do you seriously think you have a conference like that and the word Israel doesn't come up and you indict George W. Bush on war crimes? I mean, how much more obvious do you want it? Has the word Chris Boleyn ever left the mouth of a James Corbett or a Whitney Webb or a Ryan Christian? You have your answer. That's the point of a limited hangout. You remove the truth teller, exhaust them, beat them, bash them, run them into exile until they're so exhausted they can't go on it, then you replace them. That's the game. James Corbett, you clowns, here's what I swear. James Corbett, Whitney Webb, the Ryan Dawsons of the world. Here's what I swear. I will be able to travel and I will largely be cleared of all sorts of things. I just got a new Australian passport. I wasn't arrested at the embassy. Here's what's going to happen. My goal in life will be to follow you people around as a journalist. Now, if you're with your kids at a cafe, I'm not going to disturb you, but we are going to find you on the streets. We're going to find you in front of your houses or your little Chilean farm, wherever the hell you are, and we will find you. And we're going to ask you some very tough questions about your behavior. That's my goal in life. I don't think about anything else. I don't think about Pamela Anderson in her prime running down the beach in whatever the name of that show was. Well, it's forever ruined after the porno with Tommy Lee, hepatitis C guy. But anyway, actually, Pamela's very smart. You'd be surprised. A bit of a Jungian herself. But the point is, that's my goal in life, to hunt every single one of you down as a journalist. And again, if you're sitting with your kids at a cafe, I'm not going to disturb you, but I'm going to find you. And we're going to ask you some very hard questions, just like journalists do all over the world all the time. You are not going to get in, make a shit ton of money and walk away. It's not happening. We're going to ask you some hard questions. James and his boyfriend, James Corbett, is not married with a child. He's homosexual. That's fine, but you keep it on the low down like most of you do. Like maybe you hang out with Nick Fuentes or something. But you need to start getting in your head that these people's lies have ramifications. Like Kevin Barrett, who I heard is over in Morocco somewhere with his wife after I reported him to the FBI. Because listen to what he has to say. Have a listen.
And he is an enemy of the world banking cartel, or at least honest opposition who's not.
No, he's not. He did exactly what he was told. And then when he cried, he went to Turkey after I left Malaysia and said, oh, we can't take them on, they'll destroy our economy. Well, Dr. Tun, Dr. Mahathir, shame you didn't tell us before we all threw our lives away. And thanks for the donation. No, we didn't get any donations from you.
Not afraid to speak his mind. So we could have some pretty good conferences here. And we're talking about doing conferences possibly on alternatives to the global riba usury financial system.
Oh, what are you talking about there, Kevy? What are you talking about? Are you talking about the bricks? You're talking about... Will be damned. Crikey.
And also, and dear to Brendan's heart, on the techno sector, that is domination of strategic technology by Zionists and other bad actors. How we're going to take back our control over technology to use it to make a better world for people rather than to enslave people. So
not long after this, the Iranians came for a big conference. Rouhani was there. I've got film of the big motorcades.
These would be really good conferences, and I hope that some of my contacts here in Malaysia, and I've made some really interesting contacts, might be able to help put together those conferences, and maybe you can all come join us.
That would be great, Kevin. And
Kevin really loves Soros. And Kevin spent a lot of time in France. He also speaks French, not just fluent Arabic. Don't you, Kev?
All I can say is
we've lost vertical control of our airplane.
I hope no more aircraft disappear, and Malaysia, could Malaysia be the last stand, a high technology hub in its own right? Well, all we can do is ask and try. It's been great chatting with Kevin. Wow, this guy's, I've always liked Kevin, we've disagreed on stuff, but wow, this guy's lived quite an interesting life, and I could talk for hours. In fact, we're worn out. We've talked non-stop.
You calling somebody else having an interesting life, I mean, that's a real compliment. I mean, you know what you're talking about, man.
Well, maybe there'll be a book or a movie. I think Brad Pitt can play me. Maybe.
Okay.
Who's playing you? Harrison Ford?
That's okay with me.
Yeah. We'll sort that. We'll sort the important things out later, but till then, go Malaysia. We hope that in this age of deceit, in this age where right is left and left is right, up is down and east is west, that we can get some sort of sanity and adult conversation on really important issues, and I think perhaps Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur could be it. As the Malaysians would say, jumpa lagi, jumpa nanti, and hoda hafez. Ciao for now. Good on you, mates.
Very good. I didn't go out with Dr. Mahathir yet, but I don't even know if Dr. Mahathir would find a better restaurant.
Restaurant was $20 each for about 5 courses. It was a Iraqi restaurant.
Well, people come to Kuala Lumpur. You know, we should have a convention here. We're talking, or some kind of meetup, and there are different ideas here. But one of them that I've been floating around with some local friends is having a conference on fixing the monetary system, because that is becoming a big issue as the balancing forces reaches the point that Dr. Mahathir can actually say, here, let's try and set up a gold-backed Asian currency alternative to the dollar so we can avoid the U.S. sanctions and trade with Iran.
Really, Kevin? So we can avoid the US dollar and trade with Iran and the sanctions. Okay.
So he knows how far he can push things, but now he's pushing them further because he knows he can get away with it because there are forces in Russia and China, for example, that agree with him.
Really? Sean? You mean the one with I still to this day. Seriously. I said, I can't go along with this. You're a fucking idiot. What's going on, Kevin? I'll show you the email another day. I still sent him $2,000 as promised, but, he laughed about it. It's like, you piece of shit.
So he knows how far he can push things, but now he's pushing them further because he knows he can get away with it because there are forces in Russia and China, for example.
Russia should take over Israel's defense from America, and Kevy knows all of this stuff. I know for a fact he knows. Well, it's still all bricks all the way, eh, Kev?
That agree. Because there are forces in Russia and China, for example, that agree with him. In Europe, even, a lot of the high rollers now agree with him that there's a problem with.
In Europe, a lot of the high rollers. What, you mean like your buddy Soros and Rothschild, Evelyn de Rothschild, Lord Jacob?
This petrodollar hegemony and the whole banking system run by Zionists, as you know. So.
Banking system run by Zionists. What about the German Luciferian existentialists, man? Say Rothschild. Just say City of London, Kev.
Anyway, he's now pushing for this alternative gold-backed Asian currency. Could be really, and this is the place to do it. Because right now, Mahathir, the guy who actually wants to help torpedo the petrodollar and change the world's currency system, is back in power, riding high here.
So anyway, as you can see, think about what we just saw. Think about where all that's gone. The BRICS is dead. The BRICS is dead. It's a matter of getting everyone in line. This is the fallout. Unfortunately, I wish I could tell you a lot of people were going to get it in the neck, but I keep telling you that cyber is the real domain of power. I went on and on and on about critical infrastructure. Fuck COVID, critical infrastructure. Electrical grid goes down, you're toast. That's it. It's over. Once the electrical grids go down, you got no power. That's the end of you are finished. Your country is finished instantly. COVID's nothing. Nothing. It's like a picnic. That's why I said over and over, who is Zohar Zispel? We used to have a joke, me and Jalil, when will Whitney say the word Zohar Zispel and Rad Group, who control banking, telemachines, banking databases, the electrical grids all over the world. Oh, for God's sake. I'll do a detailed video on Whitney Webb, I promise you. It's coming. So anyway, let's move on to the next section. Let's talk Thierry Masson. Let's talk this. Thank you again for the links. And if you remember Thierry Masson, he was one of the originals. He's French, you know. Let's see. He makes some valid points here, but this is from the 8th of October, 2024. But what I want to point out is, how does this big intellectual guy that preceded Chris Bollin, I think he actually assisted Bollin on some information a lot of the times, him and a German guy. But again, I think Bollin was a bit ignorant, but I think his intent was pure. But the bottom line was he kept saying Russia was being set up by Israel. And when I went after Chris politely, and I think I was exchanging emails with his wife, I said, look, you got to stop this garbage. Look at all this information on Likud, the multipolar world order, BRICS, all this rest of this stuff. And there's Likud, and there's Netanyahu, and there's Israel, there's Kissinger. No reply. But he disappeared after that. Word I got back was he's exhausted. Simple as that. And I get it. I believe he's basically sincere, but he was being used in the best case scenario. Maybe he was insincere, but the best case scenario was the guy was being used again to split off US public. You got to understand, they've got to split off US public opinion. So the Israelis and Jewish power will happily go along with going with Russia and China. That was the plan. That's why you see all the Israeli press saying, no, we're sticking with America. That's the big thing. We are making a serious mistake in thinking that all of Iran is opposed to Israel's colonization of Palestine. A group of Iranians, albeit a minority, that's a lie, still hopes to revive trade with the West at the cost of an agreement with the genocidal regime of Benjamin Netanyahu. This is his first bit he's got wrong. Albeit a minority? Dude, ain't a minority. 80% of Iran, I promise you, after 3 months there, I didn't meet a single person. Oh, I love the revolution. There's nobody. It's all pro-Europe, pro-Germany, pro-France, Thierry Masson. Yeah, pro-France. I'm not even going to read that article. I'm going to leave it for you. You can read this article yourself. Maybe I'll read a little bit. But Rafsanjani, remember, I attended this guy's funeral, if you remember.
Brendan O'Connell, the bell tower boy, in Tehran, the head of the funeral procession for former President Mr. Rafsanjani.
I don't even want to play that. It was a huge, man, there was 1 million people. I've never seen so many people. I could have gone in and viewed the coffin, but I couldn't. I was having a panic attack. It was that crowded. It was that crowded. I've never been. It's scary when you get a big bunch of people like that. If you fall over, you're dead. You are dead. And that guy's Intel, the guy back there in the little light-coloured thingy. I don't like lying. I knew a little bit about Rafsanjani, a multi-billionaire, and I thought, this is a load of crap. By then, I'd worked out it was all bullshit, and I was trying so hard. Just take the money, Brendan, go skiing. You've got an apartment. They're treating you like a little panda bear. You're going to do a travel show. Stay in, mix with Mr. Passport, engage with them. And I just couldn't do it. It was the drug taking and the closet homosexuality and the back rubs of the lawyer. You don't understand. I was going, I got to get out of here. Oh, I get shivers just thinking about it. Jeez, bizarre. I go to Iran and it's one big sex party. It is literally one big sex and drugs party. This is why Thierry Masson is a bit of a dick and a big dick on this. So there's Rafsanjani. The pro-US President Hashem Rafsanjani became the richest man in his country by trafficking arms with Elliot Abrams. Later, he sent Iranian soldiers to fight under NATO command in Bosnia. Finally, he participated in the color revolution that attempted to overthrow his successor, President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. I asked to meet him because he's the real deal. He's actually real. And you could tell the looks on their faces. Oh, yeah, he received. You can see they did not want me to meet him. I knew, yeah. Most of us think that the Islamic Republic of Iran is primarily turned against Israel. This is to misunderstand the teaching of Imam Khomeini and to ignore the many relationships between the two countries. Ruhollah Khomeini was an anti-imperialist in a country that suffered first from the United Kingdom, then from the United States. Now, it's an interesting article. I do urge you to read it, but there's a few problems with it. Number one, Thierry Masson's been around for a long, long time. He was one of the first big ones to really talk about 9/11. He was one of the big names. Michael Chivadowski, of course. Chris Bollin might have come along a little bit later. You had Eric Huschmidt, and then they teamed up with, you remember that, with Daryl Bedford-Smith, good guy, one of the real ones, DBS, Daryl Bedford-Smith. Good on him. He's in France. But Thierry Masson, How do you be an intellectual and obviously a good writer and researcher and miss the fact that, you know, Rouhani spent 6 years in Scotland hanging with Jack Straw and Lord Levi, one step away from Lord Jacob Rothschild? You miss that? It's been on the fucking BBC, not just the BBC. I mean, I could bring up photos on, I can't be bothered. He all misses the fact that you might want to mention that the Ayatollah who you're talking about came out of a Paris commune. A Paris commune. Didn't come out of Iraq. He came out of a Paris commune. He was booted from Iraq by Saddam Hussein, who had a close relationship with France. In fact, he built a French reactor. And then France is also sending Mirage fighter jet designs over to Israel. This is the game. This is the game. When you forget to mention all the other stuff about Iran. Really? You missed all that? You don't tell us about the multipolar world order and put it all together in a page. Talk about hanging with all of these people. Carlos theory. Have you not noticed? And please keep me up to date. If you find these people talking about it, and they will in time, they will in time. I just want to keep myself, as I said to Mary, I said, Mary, you don't have to convince anyone of anything. Just give them one of Lee's flyers. It's got the QR codes. The truth speaks for itself. Your main aim is to associate yourself and weld the truth to you, so you end up on an intelligence oversight committee as a senator or a congresswoman. That's the aim. A whole new generation is being groomed now. For the next few years will define the next 100 years of US Pax Americana. It's going to take $1 trillion military to fix this. There's a big problem though. They are so deeply embedded. The parasite is so deeply embedded, not just in the United States. It's deeply embedded in Israel, Germany, France, you name it. It's embedded everywhere. It's embedded in MI6. It's embedded in, it's not MI6 and it's not MI5. It's embedded in, it is the Rothschild private intelligence network. That's why they love to privatize everything. Oh no, we need to privatize and we charge 5 times as much. And that's not just about privatizing and spreading money around and stimulating an economy or giving gifts to giant transnational corporations. It's about opening up doors so you get your people. It's a lot easier to get your people into a private contractor situation than directly into a very close family at the NSA and other places. That's why they do it. We've got to start getting onto these intellectuals who seem to be able to do very intricate stuff and then miss the big picture. You know, I've always gone on about the big picture. If you understand the big picture, all right, you can understand the particular from the big picture, but you cannot understand the big picture from the particular. You cannot see the forest for the trees. If you get the grand narrative and understand it all works from who prints the money, City of London, and that long history, then you begin to understand. Then you can see the limitations of people around you, and you need to stop making excuses for these people. It's year 2024. They know. They know. I don't want to hear their excuses. The times are too important now. Your kids' lives are in danger. Don't believe their bullshit. Oh, so I've got to be careful. That's crap. Mary Silver lives openly, not so much as had her driveway scratched. Stop the horse shit. It's bullshit. All right, the narrative stands. Israel, secular state. We are all Israelites. We all crave justice. We all crave the truth. We want the widows and the orphans looked after, and we want the people who work in the fields to be paid their due wages. It transcends race, it transcends gender, it transcends sexual orientation, it transcends the color of your fucking skin, it translates where you were born or which vagina you popped out of. We are all Israelites. We crave justice. We crave the truth. We can't bear it. We go, I just got to walk away. But you can't walk away. You've got to fight. We are the Israelites. All of us, we are bound by desire for freedom and above all, the truth. And the truth will set us free. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall see you all very, very soon. You have a great day.